I pride myself in finding some obscure companies to do anniversaries on. One of the most obscure ones I've probably done this year is Culture Brain. A lot of you probably have no idea what Culture Brain is, but a few of their games did come over here. It was founded on October 5th, 1980, which makes it the 35th anniversary. And again, a lot of the games didn't come over here, but I'm going to take a look at some of the American games that did, as well as some of the Japanese ones. And a lot of them are Kung Fu oriented, so prepare for some karate! Alright, let's get into it. One of their first games was Chinese Hero, and it's pretty obvious. You just load in, fight a bunch of guys, and move on to the next screen. Very simplistic, but it was kind of the background for what will become a lot of their series. Shanghai Kid kind of narrows down the perspective in having one warrior face off a bunch of others. Kind of a very early fighting type game, and you're trying to land blows in the arm, head, just trying to make some blows. Very Punch-Out-X, except you're trying to do the kicks and the blows. It's actually pretty hard to aim the stick where you want your blow to land, but kind of cool. Now, one of their first Nintendo games was Kungfu Heroes, which is more or less, as you can pretty much tell, a straight up port with a couple of enhancements and downgrades and some visual tweaks to Chinese Hero, essentially. Now, Flying Dragon the Secret Scroll may look familiar. It's not exactly Kung Fu for the NES, but a lot of people probably play the NES Kung Fu game, which was made by IRM, and it's kind of the same principle, except that instead of a dojo, you're in this field, you're fighting fish monsters, it looks like, and even girls are you're fighting, and then there's like other kind of crazy, weird, mythological things being thrown at you. A little bit more sporadic than some of the other games prior to this, but it's very challenging and, kind of cool. Finally, something non-Chinese and martial arts oriented. This is the magic of Scheherazade. Okay, it's based on a lot of Arabian culture and lore. Anyway, this is pretty much to sum up, it is an Arabian Zelda. You're going around the world map, you're collecting items, you have a sword, there's a town, you buy items. It's a lot of cool stuff. It's a pretty neat game, and it did come over here. I definitely recommend it. Again, it's a little harder than even Zelda, but it's pretty cool. Alright, and now we come to basically the piece de resistance already of Culture Brain, in my opinion, which is the Little Ninja Brothers series. Or, in Japan, it's basically known as the Super Chinese series. Now, not a lot of these games came over here, and the ones that did, again, are the Ninja Brothers series. Essentially, you are a set of twins. You can do solo or with a friend, and how it works is you go in dungeons or the world map, and you go into a battle, and the battle is a top-down perspective, and you're fighting a bunch of monsters. Kind of RPG along the lines of the Tales series today, Instead of random encounters with a turn-based system, you're actually running around the field fighting dudes. And this is continued through a lot of them. This is an NES game. This one is Super Chinese World 2 for the Super Nintendo. Didn't come over here, as you can tell from just the logo, but you can see their visualization has improved, and there are a lot of games in this series. And again, they're pretty good, just a cool RPG brawler, a culmination of a lot of things that they made beforehand. And I really think you should try and track down either one of these import games or the games that came over here, because I really do think they hold up pretty well. At least the concept is very novel for RPGs, kind of even today. Now let's backtrack a little bit with Ultimate Fighter, which is kind of a hybrid of both the side-scrolling ninja action as well as a 2D fighter, where you're just going against a boss if you want to, or you're just scrolling through and just battling a bunch of dudes. But if you're in the mood for a straight-up fighter, we have Osoo Karate Buu, which is based off of an anime and manga. It is a rival schools type thing where you're a bunch of school kids and adults and you're beating the crap out of each other. What more could you want? It's a very mediocre 2D fighter. It's okay as far as, you know, license-based properties go, but it is different from a lot of their original series. And lastly, number 10 pretty much on here is First Queen on the Super Nintendo. This is pretty much their only strategy RPG as far as I've played. It's kind of unique. You go around this world map and you go into battles and you have a bunch of soldiers with you and you just basically bump into a monster or a soldier and it just auto battles. It actually takes kind of a long time, even with some of the smaller things, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing because it is in Japanese. But it is, as far as Culture Brain go, again, most of it's martial arts stuff. It's kind of cool that they branched out and did something else. I wish it was translated so I could understand what's going on. Maybe I'd have a better time. But yeah, that is 10 of their games, basically. There's a lot more out there. There's some anime games and there's some baseball games. But these are kind of the 10 that I kind of want to stick to give you a visualization of what Culture Brain is. Again, pretty much a martial arts type game developer. And yeah, I just want to celebrate their anniversary, so happy 30th to you guys. Hope you enjoyed the retrospective. Of course, you can find more information in my accompanying article on Examiner, as well as some other stuff. But for now, plugs aside, I bid you adieu. Boom,